In this Track and Trade High Finance Trading Training video, I want to talk to you about the chart settings. Now this control panel right here with this tab set sometimes gets a little bit overwhelming and we wonder what all these features are. Some of them down towards the bottom are a little bit easier to understand, like the ruler options and the fonts and the colors, and some of these things, they're a little bit more self-explanatory. You know, the color close, color on alternate days for your ticks, and some of these things are relatively simple to figure out. But some of the things that some people have questions are right here in this first window. So these are the things I want to cover in this video. The first thing is the chart scaling. Now we can scale the chart in several ways, and you'll notice that the price column is split in two different sides. We have the left side and the right side. If we take our mouse and hover it over the top of the right side of the price bar, you'll notice the little arrow, and if we hold down the left mouse button, click, and then drag, this changes the scaling of the chart up and down. Okay? Now if we slide the mouse over to the left side of the price bar, and then click and hold down the mouse, we move the chart up and down. Now on the bottom side, you'll see that the date bar, or the timeline, is the same way. It's split in half. The upper half, if we click and hold down the left mouse button, moves the chart back and forth across the screen. If we hover our mouse over the bottom half of the time bar, this is what scales our charts in and out. Now some computers have a difficult time doing this scaling right here. This takes a computer with a little bit more horsepower to do. So we've also set these little arrows over here. If you would rather, you can just click the little arrows and it clicks in the chart, or back out the chart with the little arrows. Now if you come over here to this little slider does the same thing for us. Okay, it does the same thing over here. So we can slide the chart in and out and scale it with this little slider. So depending on the strength or the speed of your computer can depend on the way you can use these different features. Most computers can handle these features just fine without any problem, but sometimes going this distance takes a little bit stronger computer, so we offer a few more options on how to scale the chart horizontally rather than vertically. Now let's continue on and let's go down and talk about this other section of the chart. Now the next thing I want to talk about is down here in the bottom. You'll see that we have tab settings. See, this says show tab 1. We can turn these on and off. Let's say we don't want that tab. We can just turn it off, and that reduces the number of tabs that we have. Or we can turn it back on and it increases it back up. Now we can change the time frame of these tabs. You'll notice right now I have it set to 3 minutes. If I want that to be a 5-minute bar, I just change it to 5. Or if I want them to be 1-minute bars, I can change it to 1. And that makes it so I now open up a 1-minute chart. And in opening up my 1-minute chart, you can see the 1-minute charts are on the screen by clicking the 1-minute tab. Now if I wanted that to go to a 2-minute chart, I can just simply click it and it's now a 2-minute chart. If I want it to be a 3-minute chart, I can change it to a 3-minute chart, and then my tab goes to 3 minutes. Now let's talk about the overall chart scaling window. Let's say that for every chart type that we had one of these settings windows right here. And you opened up this, let's say we slide our window all the way over, and we have them lined up, one right after the other. Just imagine that for a second. And this first one is for 1 minute. The second one would be for the 5-minute chart. The third one would be for the 10-minute chart. And as you went over and scrolled over, you'd have your daily chart, your weekly chart, and your monthly chart. Now, that's what we've really done with this window. If that's the way you want to think about it, it makes it easier to understand. But rather than actually duplicating the exact same controls over and over and over and over for each chart, all we do is come in and change the chart. And then we say, these controls now affect this chart. So if we come in here and say, okay, on our 1-minute chart, we want to chart the average, and we want the price bars to be open, high, low, close, and we want the visible periods to be, oh, this looks good right here, and we want the grid lines, or these grid lines, to be on hours or days, and we can change that. And if we want them to be periodic, we can come in here and we can say we want them to be periodic 1, or we can be periodic 5, or periodic 8, or we can be periodic 20, or whatever feels good to you and whatever you want. We want the price scale to be 5 and we want it to be a fixed digit, fixed number, and it's 5 numbers on here on the screen. And you can see that we got 5 different lines going across the screen horizontally. If we want that to be 6 or 7, we can change that to 7, or we can change it to 8, and we have different price scales in there, and that's how many price scales, how many lines across the screen, how many lines across the chart we can see on the screen. We can go to a grid scale, whether we want it to be linear, logarithmic. Logarithmic's not going to make a whole lot of difference unless you have a really long chart, like a stock chart or something that's got a lot of history on it. So we just leave it on linear. Do we want it to be auto vertical scaled? That's our auto scaling, and we can see that from our right-click menu whether we have auto scaling turned on. Auto scaling means that when we slide it back and forth, see how it automatically scales to fit in the window? If we turn that off, turn off auto scaling, and we slide, notice that the chart doesn't scale back into the window. It goes off the screen. But if we again turn on auto scaling right here, and slide the chart, notice that it scales and it keeps the chart scaled to the screen. So that's auto scaling. And we can turn on and turn off some of the different features in here. Now, proportional width, what that means, let's come to a chart that we may see that on. Proportional width, and this is on, I've gone to the 10-minute chart. Now, as we increase the size of the chart or decrease the size of the chart, see how tiny those little ticks get? But if we increase the size of the chart, notice at some point the ticks start getting thicker. See how they get thicker as we get larger? Things get wider and thicker, the lines get thicker. Well, if we turn off proportional width, see, they stay real thin. Okay? It depends on whether you like them to get thicker or stay thin. And so that's automatically calculated for you as you increase or decrease the size of the chart. So you can have it proportional width be automatic. Now that's a setting for the 10-minute chart. So if we want to come in here now and say that's our defaults, okay, we just set everything the way we want it on a 10-minute chart. Now we come in here, let's switch it over to the 15-minute chart. How do I want my 15-minute chart to be? Well, when I'm looking at a 15-minute chart, I might want that to be on candlesticks. And I might want this to be on a daily, and I might want this to be periodically set to 8 instead of on daily. And then I want my grid scale to still be linear, my price values to still be 5, but I want it to be on candlestick. So that's good. I'm going to leave my settings there. Now when I come back and go to 120, maybe I want this one to be close only line, and I want it to be on an hourly basis, and that's my 120. Now when I go to my daily, I want my grid periods to be weekly, and I want the chart scaling to be just a high-low close. And when I go to my, that's my daily. Now when I go to weekly, maybe on weekly I want to go to close only line, and I want it to be daily grid lines. And when I go to my monthly, I want it to be high-low close, or maybe on my monthly I'll have candlesticks. And I want the scaling to be scaled out like this, and I don't want to have proportional width. So whenever I look at a monthly chart, that's what I want them to look like. Whenever I go to a weekly chart, that's what I want them to look like. Whenever I go to a daily chart, that's what I want them to look like. Whenever I go to a 120-minute chart, that's what I want them to look like. 15, 10, 5, and 1. And so that's the way I want all my charts to look like. Now, once I get them set the way I want, now I change my mind on that 15-minute chart. I want that scaling to be just a little bit bigger on my 15-minute chart, and I don't want proportional width. So whenever I open up a 15-minute chart, that's what I want it to look like. Now all I do is I hit Save as My Defaults. Now, anytime I go out and open up any chart and I'll go to a 15-minute chart, it will be to that scaling, and it will have those tick styles. So now we can come out here and we can come in and say I want to go to EUR/USD, and I go to a 15-minute chart, and you can see my scaling and my settings are just the way I set them over here and then saved as my defaults. I go to my 10-minute chart, I got something different. 5-minute chart, I got something different. 1-minute charts, my 2-hour charts, my daily charts, my weekly charts, and remember my monthly charts I made great big. And I hope that helps you understand the chart scaling settings a little bit more clearly.